Let's start with the little guy who wasn't so little. Napoleon Bonaparte, history's most famous short king, right? Wrong. The Napoleon complex is built on a complete fabrication. Napoleon was 5 feet 7 inches, perfectly average for a Frenchman in the 1800s. So where did this lie come from? British propaganda. England was at war with France, and nothing hurts a military leader's reputation like making him sound like an angry chihuahua. The British press depicted him as a tiny tyrant, and it stuck. Also, his imperial guard were all over 6 feet tall, so he looked short by comparison. Imagine being a world-conquering emperor and your biggest legacy is a height complex you never had. Brutal. You've heard this since elementary school. The Great Wall of China is the only man-made structure visible from space. Sounds impressive, also completely false. Astronauts in low Earth orbit can barely see it, even with magnification. You know what they can see clearly? Cities, highways. The pyramids show up better than the wall does. Here's the kicker. This lie predates space travel. It was written in 1938, 21 years before anyone even reached space. It was pure speculation that somehow became fact. The myth got so widespread that even Chinese textbooks had to be corrected. The wall is incredible. It just doesn't need fake superpowers. Vikings, brutal warriors, epic beards, those iconic horned helmets, yeah, never happened. Not a single horned helmet has ever been found in a Viking archaeological site. Not one. In battle, horns on your helmet would be a terrible idea. They'd give your enemy something to grab while they're separating your head from your shoulders. So, where did this come from? An 1876 opera called Der Ring des Nibelungen. The costume designer thought horns looked cool and dramatic. Audiences loved it, and suddenly every Viking in pop culture was sporting them. Real Vikings would have laughed their unhorned heads off. But hey, at least they looked metal. Thomas Edison, genius inventor, creator of the light bulb. Except, he didn't invent it. At least 20 people created working light bulbs before Edison. Humphrey Davy made one in 1802. Joseph Swan had a working bulb in 1878. Edison's version came out in 1879. What Edison did do was improve the design and, more importantly, market the hell out of it. He was Steve Jobs, not Steve Wozniak. He also aggressively bought up patents and crushed competitors. Edison was a brilliant businessman who understood that history remembers the person who wins, not the person who invents first. Cold-blooded, but effective. Next time you flip a light switch, pour one out for all the forgotten inventors who actually made it happen. Goldfish have a 3-second memory. It's the perfect metaphor for anyone scrolling TikTok for 6 hours straight. It's also completely wrong. Studies show goldfish can remember things for at least 3 months. They can recognize their owners, learn to navigate mazes, and can even be trained to perform tricks on command. One study trained goldfish to push a lever for food at specific times. They remembered the schedule. These fish have better time management than most humans. The 3-second myth exists because, well, it's funny. It makes us feel superior. Sorry to break it to you, but that goldfish judging you from its bowl, it remembers everything. If you could just unlock the other 90% of your brain, you'd have superpowers. That's the premise of the movie Lucy, and it's absolute nonsense. Neuroimaging shows we use virtually all of our brain, just not all at once. Different regions activate for different tasks. Using 100% of your brain simultaneously is called a seizure, and trust me, that's not an upgrade. This myth traces back to early 1900s psychology when scientists didn't fully understand brain function. Someone misinterpreted the data and Hollywood ran with it. The truth? You're already using your whole brain. You're just not using it well. But that's a you problem, not a brain capacity problem. Look at your wrist. Those blue veins? Proof that blood is blue inside your body and turns red when it hits oxygen, right? Nope. Your blood is always red. Always. It's dark red when it's deoxygenated and bright red when it's oxygenated, but never blue. Those veins look blue because of how light penetrates your skin. Longer wavelengths of light, red, get absorbed by skin, while shorter wavelengths, blue, bounce back to your eyes. It's an optical illusion. Fun fact, horseshoe crabs actually do have blue blood because they use copper instead of iron. But you? You're running on red, my friend. This lie is so widespread it's in educational textbooks. Even teachers believe it. If you just learned something today, drop a comment and let me know which lie shocked you most so far. Every parent knows, give a kid sugar, get a tornado. The sugar rush is real, except it's not. Multiple double-blind studies have found zero link between sugar consumption and hyperactivity. Zero. In one study, researchers told parents their kids had sugar, but gave them placebos. The parents still reported hyperactivity. It's a placebo effect mixed with context. Kids eat sugar at parties and celebrations where they're already excited. We blame the sugar when it's just excitement. The real villain? Your child's natural chaos energy that exists independently of glucose levels. Sorry, you can't blame the cookies. George Washington's teeth were made of wood. That's why he looks so serious in paintings. Splinters in your gums aren't fun. Except his dentures were not wooden. His dentures were made from gold, lead, hippopotamus ivory, and human teeth, possibly from enslaved people. Yeah, it gets dark fast. Washington had terrible teeth and wore uncomfortable dentures his whole adult life. But wood? Never. Wood would rot and splinter immediately. The wooden teeth myth probably came from ivory staining dark brown over time, making it look wood-like. The reality is so much stranger and more horrifying than the myth. History. Everyone. Drop a penny from the Empire State Building and it'll gain so much speed it could kill someone below. Sounds scientific? Completely false. A penny's terminal velocity is about 50 miles per hour. Fast, but not lethal. It would sting, maybe leave a mark, but that's it. The penny is too light and has too much air resistance to become a deadly projectile. Mythbusters actually tested this. They shot pennies at ballistic gel at terminal velocity. Result? Not even close to lethal. So don't throw pennies off buildings, that's just rude. But if someone tells you it's deadly, they've been watching too many cartoons. The alpha wolf. The dominant leader who rules through strength and aggression. Every Bro Science podcast references this. Problem, it's based on bad science. The alpha wolf concept came from a 1947 study of wolves in captivity. Turns out, wolves act differently when you lock them in enclosures with strangers. In the wild, wolf packs are families, parents and their pups. The alphas are just mom and dad. They lead because they're literally the parents, not because they fought for dominance. The researcher who popularized the term spent decades trying to correct this mistake. But the damage was done. Now we have LinkedIn influencers calling themselves alpha males based on debunked wolf prison studies. Nature is beautiful, but the internet is forever. Eat your carrots, they'll give you better night vision. Your mom said it, Bugs Bunny confirmed it. It's also British wartime propaganda. During World War II, the British Royal Air Force had a secret weapon, radar. They were shooting down German planes in the dark with unprecedented accuracy. To hide this technology from the Germans, they spread a rumor that their pilots ate massive amounts of carrots for superior night vision. The Germans investigated carrots. The British kept their radar secret. Carrots do contain vitamin A, which is good for eye health, but they won't give you night vision. They'll give you normally functioning eyes. The bar is low, but it's honest. This might be the most successful wartime propaganda in history. It's still fooling people 80 years later. Shave your hair and it grows back thicker and darker. It's why you regret shaving that one weird patch on your arm in middle school. Except, it doesn't. Shaving cuts hair at its thickest point, the shaft. When it grows back, that blunt tip feels coarser than the naturally tapered end, but it's not actually thicker. Studies going back to 1928 have proven this. Hair thickness, color, and growth rate are determined by your follicles and genetics, not by your razor. So why does everyone believe this? Confirmation bias. You're paying more attention to the area after shaving, so you think it's different. Your beard is gaslighting you. Lightning never strikes the same place twice. Great advice if you want to die by lightning. The Empire State Building gets struck about 25 times per year. The same place, over and over. Lightning doesn't care about your superstitions. It strikes the path of least resistance. Tall objects, metal structures, high ground. If it's the best conductor, lightning will hit it again. And again. Park Ranger Roy Sullivan was struck by lightning 7 times in his lifetime and survived all of them. 7 times. If the saying were true, Roy would have gotten a lifetime pass after strike 1. The moral? If you're in a lightning-prone area, don't trust old sayings. Trust physics. 5 senses. It's taught in every kindergarten. Sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. Simple, clean, and completely inadequate. You also have proprioception, knowing where your body is in space without looking. Close your eyes and touch your nose. That's not one of the 5 senses, but you just used it. There's equilibrioception, balance, thermoception, temperature, nociception, pain, chronoception, time perception, and more. Scientists argue we have anywhere from 9 to 33 senses depending on how you categorize them. The 5 senses thing comes from Aristotle, who made his best guess 2,400 years ago. He also thought the brain was a radiator for cooling blood. We've learned a bit since then. Okay, pause. We're halfway through and your entire worldview should be crumbling right now. Napoleon was average height. Vikings were horn-free. Edison was basically a patent troll. Here's what I need from you. First, subscribe if you're enjoying this reality check. Second, drop a comment telling me which lie you believed the longest. Was it the goldfish memory? The sugar rush? The wooden teeth? I need to know how deep the deception goes. We've got 15 more lies to destroy, and trust me, the next batch is even more shocking. Let's keep going. Crack your knuckles, get arthritis. Your grandma warned you. Your grandma was wrong. Decades of research show no link between knuckle cracking and arthritis. The popping sound? That's just gas bubbles in your joint fluid bursting. Harmless. Dr. Donald Unger cracked the knuckles on his left hand, and only his left hand, every day for 60 years. He won an Ig Nobel Prize for this dedication to pettiness. Result? No arthritis in either hand. Cracking your knuckles might annoy everyone around you, but it won't destroy your joints. Some heroes don't wear capes. Some heroes just crack their knuckles for science. Albert Einstein failed math as a kid, so if you're bad at math, you're basically Einstein. Inspiring, also false. Einstein was excellent at math. By age 15, he'd mastered differential and integral calculus. His grades were consistently high. He did fail an entrance exam to a polytechnic school, but only because he bombed the language and botany sections. The math? Aced it. So where did this myth come from? The school later changed its grading scale. Researchers looking at old report cards didn't realize 6 was the highest grade in the new system. They thought he was failing when he was actually excelling. Einstein was a genius who was also good at math. Sorry to ruin your underdog story. Diamonds. Rare, precious, worth 3 months' salary for an engagement ring. Except diamonds aren't rare at all. Diamonds are one of the most common gemstones on Earth. The supply is artificially controlled to keep prices high. In the 1930s, De Beers launched a marketing campaign that's still working today. They invented the tradition of diamond engagement rings and spread the slogan, "A diamond is forever." Before this campaign, diamond engagement rings weren't traditional. De Beers created the tradition, controlled the supply, and convinced everyone that love equals diamonds. It's probably the most successful marketing campaign in history. And now, lab-grown diamonds are chemically identical to mined diamonds, but cost way less. The entire industry is built on artificial scarcity and brilliant marketing. Romance is real. Diamond rarity is not. The forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden was an apple. It's in every painting, every storybook, every emoji. The Bible never says it was an apple. The original Hebrew text just says fruit, peri. That's it. No specific species mentioned. So, why apples? Latin. The Latin word malum means both apple and evil. When translating the Bible, this linguistic coincidence was too good to pass up. Artists ran with it. Some scholars think it was a fig. Adam and Eve covered themselves with fig leaves immediately after. Others say pomegranate or grape. We'll never know. But because of a translation quirk, the apple became the symbol of temptation. Even tech companies use it. Sorry to Eve, the real forbidden fruit was probably way more exotic. People in the Middle Ages were idiots who thought the Earth was flat. Then Columbus proved them wrong. This entire narrative is wrong. Educated people have known the Earth was round since ancient Greece. Eratosthenes calculated Earth's circumference in 240 BCE with remarkable accuracy. Medieval scholars absolutely knew the Earth was round. It was taught in universities. The debate wasn't if the Earth was round, it was how big it was. Columbus thought he could reach Asia by sailing west. He was wrong. He massively underestimated Earth's size. If America hadn't been in the way, his crew would have starved. The flat Earth myth was popularized in the 1800s by writer Washington Irving to make Columbus look smarter. It worked, But medieval people weren't dumb. They just had worse PR. Lemmings commit mass suicide by jumping off cliffs when their population gets too high. It's a metaphor for groupthink. It's also completely fabricated. This myth comes from a 1958 Disney documentary called White Wilderness. Filmmakers wanted dramatic footage but couldn't find suicidal lemmings. So they faked it. They imported lemmings, put them on a turntable to make them look like a migration, then literally threw them off a cliff while filming. The documentary won an Academy Award. Real lemmings don't commit suicide. They migrate, and sometimes they misjudge water crossings or fall accidentally. But intentional mass suicide never happened. This is why you don't trust everything you see, even from trustworthy sources. Disney lied. The lemmings paid the price. Wear a hat. You lose most of your body heat through your head. It's why you need a beanie in winter. Also, mostly wrong. You lose heat through your head at about the same rate as any other exposed part of your body. The head isn't special. This myth comes from a 1950s military study where subjects wore cold weather survival suits, but no hats. Of course, they lost heat through their heads. It was the only exposed part. In reality, your head is about 10% of your body's surface area and loses about 10% of your heat. Math checks out. Wear a hat in winter because it's cold and exposed skin loses heat. Not because your head is a special heat-radiating organ. Science is sometimes disappointingly logical. Never wake a sleepwalker, it'll cause a heart attack or brain damage. This is every horror movie's favorite fact. It's wrong. Waking a sleepwalker won't cause any medical harm. They'll be confused and disoriented, but they'll be fine. You know what is dangerous? Letting them wander around while unconscious. Sleepwalkers have walked out of windows, into traffic, and downstairs. That's dangerous. The best approach? Gently guide them back to bed. If you must wake them, do it gradually and from a distance, mostly so they don't accidentally punch you out of confusion. The "don't wake them" myth probably comes from people being freaked out by disoriented sleepwalkers who wake up confused. But confusion isn't death. Let's keep perspective here. Flush a toilet in the Northern Hemisphere. It spins one way. Flush in Australia, it spins the opposite way. The Coriolis effect, baby. Science. Except, no. The Coriolis effect is real. It affects large-scale weather patterns and ocean currents. But your toilet bowl? Way too small. Toilet water direction is determined by how the water jets are angled in the bowl's design. Nothing to do with hemispheres. You can find toilets that spin both directions in the same building. This myth got popularized by The Simpsons. Yes, a cartoon taught you physics. No, the cartoon was joking. If you believed this, don't feel bad. I once took a very long time in an Australian airport bathroom trying to verify this. Science requires sacrifice and embarrassment. MSG, monosodium glutamate, causes headaches, dizziness, and all sorts of problems. Chinese restaurant syndrome is real, right? Nope. It's racist pseudoscience. In 1968, a doctor wrote a letter to a medical journal describing symptoms after eating Chinese food. He speculated it might be MSG. It wasn't a study, just a letter. Decades of double-blind studies have found no evidence that MSG causes any symptoms in normal amounts. The FDA classifies it as generally recognized as safe. MSG is just a sodium salt of glutamic acid, naturally found in tomatoes, cheese, and mushrooms. But nobody claims Parmesan syndrome is a thing. This myth has harmed Asian restaurants and cuisines for decades, based on zero evidence. Just say you don't like Chinese food and move on. Don't blame the MSG. We're in the home stretch. 5 more lies rapid-fire style. Lie number 26. Bulls don't hate the color red. They're colorblind to it. They charge at the movement of the cape, not the color. Lie number 27. Chameleons don't change color to match their environment. They do it based on mood, temperature, and communication. Lie number 28. Your tongue doesn't have different zones for different tastes. That tongue map you learned in school? Completely made up. All taste buds detect all flavors. Lie number 29. Eating before swimming doesn't cause cramps. There's zero medical evidence for the wait 30 minutes rule. Your mom just wanted peace and quiet. Lie number 30. Humans didn't evolve from chimpanzees. We share a common ancestor. We're cousins, not descendants. Huge difference. And there you have it. 30 lies destroyed. So let's recap the carnage. Napoleon was average. Vikings had no horns. Edison was a patent thief. Your goldfish remembers your betrayal. Your brain is fully operational, you're just not using it well. Blood is never blue. Sugar doesn't cause hyperactivity. Washington's teeth were made of nightmares. Pennies won't kill anyone. Alpha wolves are just dads. Carrots won't give you superpowers. Shaving doesn't change your hair. Lightning plays favorites. You have way more than 5 senses. Knuckle cracking is harmless. Einstein was great at math. Diamonds are a marketing scam. The forbidden fruit was probably a fig. Medieval people weren't idiots. Disney murdered lemmings for content. Your head isn't a heat sieve. Sleepwalkers won't die if you wake them. Toilets don't care about hemispheres. MSG is perfectly safe. Bulls are colorblind. Chameleons have mood rings. Your tongue doesn't have zones. You can swim after eating. And humans didn't evolve from chimps. 30 lies. Some harmless, some with real consequences. All believed by millions, maybe billions, of people. So here's my question for you. Which lie hit you the hardest? Which one made you question everything you learned? Was it the Napoleon thing, the diamond industry, Disney's lemming genocide? Drop a comment and let me know. I need to know how deep the lies run in your life. And if you made it this far, first of all, congratulations on having an attention span in 2024. That's rare. Second, subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell. Because if they lied to you about this much, imagine what else they're hiding. Remember, question everything, verify your facts, and never, ever trust a Disney documentary about lemmings. I'm out.